G'day. It's for your reference. And we're going to your phrase or mine. And I'm the love master this week.
Tell us.
I hope you're good with ancient Chinese proverbs.
As much as I'm good with my fingers.
You know it. And it says, love the house, also the crow.
Love the house, also the crow. Does it mean that you should love yourself and or others, including their blemishes?
Okay, I need a proper answer. Is it yourself or is it others?
Others?
Okay, by technicality, just like Valentine's Day, you get it, sir. You've got it.
You don't see me prancing around getting an answer right because I get them all the time.
Damn dog. Let's Jack Palance to this intro music. Hey guys, welcome back. It's for your reference. And today we are covering a blockbuster smash. As you would have read through the title, hold on to your doors because Rose ain't gonna save ya.
Rose never saves anyone.
Poignant yet true. Today we are diving into the 1997 classic. We can call it a classic.
It is a classic.
Right? We are diving into the 1997 classic Titanic, written and directed by James Cameron.
Yeah, that's a really big budget movie.
We've got lots of things to say. Before we do, I do just want to say we just want to put some respect on the victims and also the family of the victims because a lot of people, unfortunately, passed away. As a result of the sinking of the Titanic that happened in 1912 on the fourth night of their voyage.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the worst tragedies to happen.
Yeah, we are going to say some real things about the movie, The Titanic, so I just wanted to set that out from the onset. Okay. You guys know how this goes at For Your Reference. We're going to jump into some stats right now. So this was released in December of 1997. We've watched it recently and we didn't want to look at the box office. So let's go into that right now. The budget was $200 million.
Whoosh.
Right?
Well,
then again, they managed to get a lot done. I can see where
that went. Yeah,
especially in 1997. Sure. I feel like a lot of it would have been manual.
Yeah.
As opposed to CGIing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good for you, James Cameron. And it grossed... Oh my, almost $2 billion.
Oh, that's
worldwide.
A profit to boot.
Yeah, it's a pretty penny, don't you reckon?
Yeah.
It's for your reference, guys. And also, fun little fact, the Titanic is in a three-way tie with Ben-Hur and also Lord of the Rings, Return of the King for the most Oscars for a film. 11 Oscars, to be exact.
All right, I can still see that. Yeah.
Right. So to break up the droning love story, I might just try and fit in some actual historical facts or facts about the movie as we go along.
Yeah, to keep you learned, mate.
Yeah, keep you well learned. Just don't try and get accreditations through For Your Reference.
Oh, you don't want to give up For Your Reference university certificates?
I feel like that's a tier for Patreon, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll be giving you certified badges or whatnot.
We are going to get in trouble. If anyone of note comes knocking, we don't exist. Okay. Time is non-linear, my friends. Let's dive into the cast. We have got O.T. DiCaprio. Oh, sorry. We've got Leonardo DiCaprio. Sorry. I don't know.
I would go with the first one.
I don't know how that happens.
Sounds a bit better.
Right.
You know, that's just me.
Playing Jack Dawson. And then we've got Katie Winslet. Oh, I'm so sorry. Kate Winslet. I'm so sorry. Contribute to our non-existing Patreon if you want to see OT and I recreate the Titanic.
in our bathing suits.
That's a vomit forever. No one wants to watch that.
Oh, there's a fetish for vomits out there, so...
Wow. You know what, guys? If you thought we were going to talk about the romantic, epic Titanic and not talk about vomit fetishes, you were wrong. And shame on you, because there's no shame around here, I say. No shame at all. Let's continue. Sorry, Kate plays Rose. We also have her fiancé, baby daddy to be, played by Billy Zane for the character Cal Hockley. Mm-hmm. We also have our main bitch. Sorry, out of respect. Our main boss bitch, Kathy Bates, playing Molly Brown. And I think they refer to her as the unsinkable.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh, amazing. Exemplary. Mm-hmm. Everything, right?
New money, they called her as well.
New money indeed. And there is so much about social status and class that hopefully we'll be able to touch on in this episode. But let me just give a few more names. We've got Frances Fisher playing Ruth, the mother of Rose. Oh,
annoying as.
Like I've said in at least last week's episode, no one can fuck you up more than your parents. And Ruth is a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Right? We also have old Rose, who's played by Gloria Stewart.
Yeah, she has her own issues as well.
It should call the issues that sink the Titanic, right? But there you go. We've got a whole slew of actors and we will get through to them as we go. But there you go. Those are the stats. The snats?
Snats sounds better.
Snack snatches.
No, that sounds like a daddy pussy.
That's what I wanted. Shout out. Woo woo. We don't have a name for our listeners. Do you want to call them daddy pussies? No. Nah.
I think there's a line somewhere and I think we crossed it a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We do appreciate you. If you're still here, thank you. And hopefully we won't let you down. Chances are we will. So let's continue. Let's get into this. Let's go into first impressions. When was the first time you watched the Titanic? How many times have you watched it? And the first time you watched it, what was the experience like?
First time I watched it, I think, was still the same year it came out. I was quite young, which surprisingly, I didn't remember all the nudity that was on there.
Mate.
Which even surprises me how I got into the bloody cinema in the first place.
You're a young boy. That's all you should have been focusing on.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
At least for thousands of years, that's what you're conditioned to focus on.
I have no recollection of that. I really don't, which is bloody weird. But I did watch it, and I think we had breaks in between the movie. I think they stopped it halfway through to say, hey, guys, get out of the cinema, stretch your legs.
Oh, it had an intermission and everything.
Oh, yeah. No one's going to sit in the bloody cinema back in 1997 for 3 bloody hours.
Oh, you fancy. You fancy.
But yeah, I think I was more emotional to the movie when it first came out. I think watching it back then, I think I cried when Jack was dying and the whole romantic scene at the end.
Spoilers.
If you've not watched this by then screw you. So what happened to I think so. This is the second time watching it, which is bloody crazy thinking about it.
No, I think
that
it
I've
makes
only
sense.
watched it twice.
Unless you have an unrequited love that you're waiting for across the ocean, I'd actually be interested because I really didn't see a desire to watch it more than I have. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, are you done?
Done and dusted, mate.
Could you imagine M'Baku in the Titanic? Probably not. Probably not. So my first impressions, I actually avoided Titanic as much as possible. I did have to come across it in English literature. Also a pseudo sort of history sort of elective. And we had to watch the Titanic. To my enjoyment, it was focusing on the historical facts of the Titanic. But as you guys know, if you've actually watched this movie, it's more focusing on, the cat and mouse game that Rose and Jack play.
You know what still doesn't get me?
What?
The fact that you bloody watched movies in school and called it bloody education. They were literally throwing books at us. No, hell no. TV was seen as recreational, and everything that you saw there was for pure enjoyment.
I guess that's a new term to a hard-hitting book. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous anyway. It's just completely.
You never watched movies in school?
Hell no. Hell no.
Even documentaries, because we did watch, for history, we did watch Hotel Rwanda. You didn't get to watch any movies at all?
No, you're just bragging.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
There are things called books detailing all these events that we were given to read. So,
and also, not to rub it in, but in primary school, which I know a lot of our listeners are American, is it elementary? Well, before you're supposed to realize you have boners, right? During that time, if it was raining, we would be able to watch movies as well.
I think the education system of the Western countries just failed everyone.
For more about OT's educational ramblings, please sign up and tune in next week.
Mate, we were forced to learn everything from every other country.
Apparently, tune in now.
Just say it. All right, let's continue with the movie.
Do you have some feelings?
Just a little bit.
Oh, but wow. I feel like everyone at least knows about the movie Titanic.
Yep.
Right? I'm actually surprised because I did say in one of our episodes, we probably won't cover a rom-com. I do kind of consider this a rom-com. It didn't focus on the actual details of the Titanic. It didn't.
As much as it didn't, it still did pay homage to some of the facts that did occur too. And I think James Cameron did a good job of actually trying to keep the facts closely knit and actually using that as part of the cogs in his love story.
Actually, yes. And because we are a learned people and our educational repository is IMDb trivia, you're welcome. There was a fact in there about James Cameron actually going on an expedition himself on the actual Titanic. Why then, sir, James Cameron, I have this poignant question for you. Why then would you cheapen this whole film with a love story?
Because people love a love story, mate. It's the way things go, isn't it?
Vomit.
Because we have 4 years later, they do Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett.
Thank you for clarifying, because I feel like there's a lot of Pearl Harbors out there. Yeah,
plus they're doing another one, I think. So it's just something people would lean towards. Not me specifically. I would do without a love story.
You know what a good example is about a very interesting historical event being ruined by a love story? Pompeii, featuring your best friend Kit Harington.
Ooh.
Bastard number one. See, there you go. Love stories just cloud things, especially when we're talking about historical stories.
Yeah, but then there's a line between being an actual movie and a documentary, and yeah. I guess you want to theaticize. Whoa, is that a fucking what?
You know what? Hi, guys. If this is your first time listening to For Your Reference, OT is very articulate. So I feel like he didn't misspeak, and that is his Kenyan education coming through, correct?
Very good Kenyan education. Thank you very much.
You know what? I admire it. You know you are dead ass wrong and you still stand by it.
It sounds like a cool ass one though.
Wow, you are really standing by your guns, aren't you?
I am.
Pow pow. So before you theoreticarize
just say it's just I've lost my train of thought. What was it?
You're talking about the Titanic and the historical facts about it.
Yeah, so there's a thin line between...
You know the film that we're covering today?
There's a thin line between it being an actual movie and a factual documentary. no one would go and watch, well, very few people would go and watch RMS Titanic.
Hi, me. Hello. Hi.
Yeah. But then people want to escape the realities of life, I guess. And that's the whole point.
I suppose.
Love makes it through the end.
Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I get what you're saying. I don't agree with you. Because we are an agreeable podcast. See what you did?
Oh, you just now.
I've got that Kenyan fever right now.
Oh, mate, that's not Ebola. I think people only realize.
Wow.
When you mention an African nation with disease, mate, just goes for one thing.
For all of our non-POCs, probably don't go around saying the same thing OT said, because you're probably not going to get the same graces. Ebola, really?
Oh, you're welcome.
I think measles is more topical. Ew. Get your kids vaccinated. And let's get back to the topic.
For any anti-vaxxers, they just need to visit a developing nation and they'll change their stance immediately. Just saying.
Welcome to For Your Reference, guys. If you thought we were just going to talk about a quaint love story about the Titanic and not talk about the real anti-vaccination problem that we have in this day and age in 2019, you were wrong. Welcome. How fun would this be if this was your first episode?
Oh, yeah.
Listening to us. By the way, if this is your first episode listening to For Your Reference, no, go and listen to I was going to say Daddywood. Go and listen to Deadwood. We are derailing and we need someone to help us. But yes, if it's your first time listening to us,
stay on the ship, producer.
Gang ho to the poop deck.
Poop deck?
Yeah, let's just go.
Oh, okay, Moving on. All right.
Ass deck. I think you prefer that. The Aztec. Oh, it's the Aztec civilization. Sorry. We need a moderator. Usually it's our dog, but he's really not bothered with what we're doing right now. He's really not bothered. Let's go back. Let's go back to the love story. I do want to talk about Rose specifically and also Jack, but let's talk about the love story in general. As this podcast goes along, we are no means a historical podcast, but I will try and fit some historical facts as we go along, or even IMDb trivia facts as we go along, just to bring some levity, because this love story, I'm not about that life, right? So let's go. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the actual love story. Objectively, does that exist? in film opinion, does that actually exist? Objectively, the love story, whether it was required or not, how did you feel about it? Did it help drive the vehicle? Did it help culminate the emotional feels that you had through the film experience, or not really?
I think we got the answer when they made $2 billion out of this, meaning that it actually did.
Wow.
It's one of those things.
Are you going to sell our podcast for a packet of beans?
Just saying. He came up with a formula that actually worked. So kudos to him. Finding love is one of the biggest tragedies in the world.
Tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
You lose.
It's been a while since I heard that. But anyway, it just works, I guess, And it went from, I think the first time watching it, because I think that's what we were banking on. The second time, I think I'm watching it with a bit more of a rose-tinted glasses. No, that means it's good, actually, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm watching it with
OT tinted glasses.
OT tinted glasses.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not as nuanced, is what I meant to say.
Semantics, right? Because we're all about grammar and words.
One of those.
Right? I don't think anything we've said actually makes sense, but there you go. I really don't think nuance was the problem. I think it was delivery, and I think it was also message.
Explain
but
a bit more.
You know what you just did? I asked you about the love story, and you're talking about everything except for the love story.
No, I think the love story is what pretty much drove Titanic to be a blockbuster classic that it is today. Take that away, and all you have is people on a boat in a ship.
No, all you have is a fascinating case study about a ship that was coined as unsinkable, right? That is way more interesting.
There again, use the word case study. Once he said that, I was like, that's a documentary, mate. No one's coming there for that shit.
I am.
In as much as we love our David Attenborough telling us nature, that's our line. And then when you get
or
deep
Benedict Cumberbatch saying penguin.
Yeah, and then when it gets to people dying in large scale, yeah, I don't think anyone needs that case study. Not in this world, not in this day and age.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's all covered by the love story. So you're fine now, right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, you tell me what you thought about it.
I feel like there are other vehicles in order to convey, a tragedy or a historical event. I really didn't feel like a love story was the best vehicle to do it through. But, it's up to everybody's preferences. And I guess we'll be interested to know whether that got in the way of you enjoying the film or that was the reason why you enjoyed the film. I didn't necessarily feel so. Also, the second time viewing this movie, which was a couple of days ago, I didn't realize how problematic Rose was. And it's not to say that rich people don't have problems, but Jesus Christ, she was sitting on her diamonds and she was talking about being on a slave ship. Are you for real, lady? This is 1912. Like, it is rife out there.
Yeah, shit is rife there with slavery. And it was just weird. I was like, yeah, mate, unless you're actually being enslaved, you cannot compare the two.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. That was like, nah, you can't go there.
That's like another episode for another day. But Jesus Christ, that lady needed to get a grip.
She did.
Get a grip like she did on the door and she didn't do for Jack. Jesus Christ, I'm not over that.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Well, then again, Mythbusters did say that it required additional efforts to keep the door afloat.
But you know what Mythbusters also didn't do? They didn't pan out to the widescreen where they saw Kate Winslet giving them money under the table. See? The more you know, my friends. That's a for your reference trivia fact, not an IMDb one. Come and fight me in our mentions if you want to. But wow, she was a problem. And I guess she wasn't really getting much sort of attention from Cal, her fiance, her baby daddy to be. But Jesus Christ, man, I just like... It was a lot of escapism, but a lot of her character just really, essentially she gave me the impression that she was the sort of person that like acted up just to get her parents annoyed, just to piss them off. She just seemed like that sort of person.
If it was 1912, if they had a black man there, the best thing she could do, get with that black man, the parent would be like, Rose, we're getting off this ship right now.
It was 1912, so let's not even... That would be no joke.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, mate. If you really want to annoy them, yeah, why not go all the way?
No, that would turn into a bloodbath. That wouldn't even be annoying them.
Oh.
But Jesus Christ, I don't know. Like, I didn't really care for Rose's character, even though we do stand... a sumptuous, I don't want to objectify you, but a delightful Kate Winslet in the For Your Reference household.
Yeah.
She is exemplary. Even with her most recent film with, I think it was Liam Hemsworth as the dressmaker.
It was.
That was a lackluster film, but we still stand to the end of time. She was gorgeous. And I do just want to point out that when they actually did the draw me like one of your French girls, the way that she was laying on the couch, his hand and the sketchbook was actually covering her right titty, right? I feel like they did that on purpose because those were real ass, natural ass titties. And if you've got real ass, natural ass titties and you're laying in that position, it would literally look like sludge. Like,
oh, I know that with my moobs.
I am offended. How dare you that in the For Your Reference household, your moobs rank higher than my boobs.
Just saying, we both have something to play with.
Today, if you wanted to know more about what goes on behind the microphone, now you know. And you regret it. You nasty.
Yeah, so
I feel like our listeners were pure before this happened.
They know themselves.
I doubt it. Especially if you've listened to one or more episodes, we're all going to hell together. Let's just admit it. I was talking about titties, right? And then you brought yours up, but it's fine. Our dog has titties. Everyone. Titties for all. Free the nipple, if you will. Right? But yes, I just did want to point that out because real titties don't sit nice and perfect when you're at that sort of angle. So shout out to the real titties. Also, shout out to the not so real titties because it's 2019. And if you feel great about yourself, go on. Go on and get yours. Get someone to suck your titty or suck your own if you've got big enough ones.
I will not comment on that, but yeah.
I got that big tit energy, babe. It's a thing. Let it happen.
Clearly.
It's a thing. If you went to go and get a snack and you're back now, we are talking about Titanic in case you were confused. We can talk more about titties, but maybe in a different episode. But yes. Oh, you want to know a fun little tidbit about the sketching? Mm-hmm. The sketches that Leonardo was carrying out during that scene was actually done by James Cameron.
Oh, he did that himself.
He did it himself.
Ooh, how long did it take him to do that? And I kind of feel like
he orchestrated this whole film.
Yeah. I'll just get Winslet to start my movie. And then I will just draw and then everything else just falls into pieces after that. And then we'll figure a movie around that.
I'd be like, where's the film, James Cameron? Don't worry about it.
No, this is the most important scene. We're starting with this.
Let's leave James Cameron alone because I feel like he's one of the few in Hollywood that doesn't have a scandal. So let's not start one. Free the natural and not so natural titties, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, Kate Winslet is a wonder to all. Do you want to talk about Jack Dawson? Jay Dawson was actually a real person on the Titanic.
Oh, yeah?
But it's not based on him.
Do you reckon they got the family's permission to use that?
I'm not sure. But if you want another fact, James Cameron actually consulted with at least 150 extras and he actually gave them all backstories. So shout out to you, James Cameron. But also, if you did all of this research and he actually went on an expedition.
Oh, well, he did the full Titanic. 9 yards, didn't he?
So then why cheapen it with a love story? But let's leave it there because we're not going to get through the rest of the movie. But really, dude, you went through all of this actual archaeological digs and you still cheapened it? Anyway, but you've got your $2 billion from this movie, so why would you listen to me, right?
Yeah, Jack is this...
Were you going to say learned?
I was going to say lovable, but that...
I guess he kind of is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Fair dinkum, mate. Did I use that correctly?
You did, actually. 2 points to you.
Natural born Aussie. Anyway, so this Lovell guy that wins tickets to join or to go to the Titanic and travel to go back to America, we learn he is actually from America and just moved to London or UK.
He just happened there, yeah.
Just by the way.
He's a vagabond. Is that what a vagabond means?
I don't know.
I've only ever heard vagabond in Can You Feel the Love Tonight? But that's the wrong movie, so we're not getting into that.
But yeah, so he goes into this ship fully excited and then stumbles across Rose or looks at her. And then from there on...
I've said this in our Game of Thrones episode with Robb Stark and that woman, right? In regards to Jack Dawson, Leo's character, if you've got a nice face, you can pull yourself out of poverty. Right?
For sure. If it was any other person other than Jack, I don't think that would have worked at all.
Like, he had his little titty drawings, but let's be honest, it was his face and his boyish charm that got him over the line.
It ain't your ass, must be your face. I think it's the other way around.
Why did that sound like a Green Day version of Nelly's tip drill?
Because I'm cool like that.
Because we're so progressive. It's for your reference, by the way. We're talking about Titanic, if you didn't know.
But yeah, so it's quite enthralling watching it because we all want to resonate with Jack, trying to score above your weight, which I did, by the way, guys. But
wow, if this is what it takes to get these comments, then we should do love stories all the time. I stand.
All right, we sure would. But yeah, it's all there. The unattainable girl, he's poor, and because there's a theme of class in this as well, right?
Yes, totally.
It's quite laid on from the get-go. They pretty much show the difference between what gets you in first class and
third class.
Yeah.
There's also second, but no one really talks about that, at least in the film.
Yeah. So the difference is quite there to see. And from then on, we just see Jack and Rose go from strength to strength to the point where it took less than 4 days for them to fall in love. Mm-hmm. Or to say they love each other, which I think was a bit too quick, but, whatever floats your boat.
Or doesn't.
Oh, wow.
If you'll pardon the sad pun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I can't help it. I can't turn it off. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, we were all rooting for Jack.
Yeah.
What about you? What did you think about him?
I think it was fine. I think he was a great vehicle. I think they both served purposes for each other. Rose was looking for some fresh excitement.
Yeah, she really was.
Someone to reinvigorate her sexual senses, right? And Jack really did that for her. What I guess I didn't really understand at the time when I watched it for the first time as an adolescent was Jack was actually well-traveled and he's seen a titty or two. So it wasn't as if because for Rose, it seemed like she was trying to feed into the fantasy of, she's the hot older lady and she's going to deflower him. Prima noctis, if you will. A reverse prima noctis if you're nasty. But it wasn't really that because Jack has traveled and he's already talked about those French girls, right? The one-legged prostitute, right?
Yeah. But from my understanding, it wasn't anything sexual rather than just...
No. But my point is for Kate, it was that fantasy because she's rearing this guy, right? And I'm just trying to understand what, aside from a beautiful body that you can behold in Kate Winslet, I'm trying to understand what Jack's character would have gotten out of that arrangement. Maybe he's one of those rare specimens that gets off on making women feel good.
Maybe so.
He seemed like the sort of kid that would let the woman finish before he does. And shout out to all of you that do the same.
Oh, thank you. I'll pat myself on the back for that then.
I was looking right at you.
But yeah, it's quite interesting because he just, I think or from what we want to believe, it's love at first sight. When he sees Rose on the deck, he's just encapsulated by her. So I think he understands Rose. He understands what Rose is going through in terms of the struggle of not knowing what she wants.
Yeah, I think we both agree that they worked together.
Yeah.
We're not really sure in what components they fulfilled each other, but they definitely worked together.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about the love story before we dive into the characters?
Nope.
I think they're good, right? We've talked about Rose. We've talked about Jack. do you want to talk about, so I guess what I want us to cover today is any other characters that we should talk about, but also the themes in the movie and also the social classes. So what do you want to cover first?
The themes?
Okay. So I guess the overall themes, it was quite clear, even through the start of the film, that the Titanic, it was the Rolls Royce of the sea, right? Yeah. I don't know if that's a proper coinage, but there you go. All of the who's that was out there, fashion designers, Macy's, the founders of Macy's were also on the boat for the Titanic. All of the prestigious people that wanted to be there had to be there.
Yeah.
For the maiden voyage of the Titanic. It was pivotal. If you were somebody, you would be on the maiden voyage of the Titanic, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the major themes in this movie is love.
Mm-hmm.
Love conquers all. Love goes beyond class. Love overlooks all those things. Something that we all hold to high esteem when it comes to us idealizing what love is.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have some sort of stake in what this is and some stake in what Rose and Jack experience, because we all want to believe in this idealistic sort of love.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the biggest themes in this. And I think that's what I was telling you.
Uh-huh.
If you take away love in Titanic, then it just becomes RMS Titanic. It becomes a case study.
What's wrong with that?
And then it's not grossing 2 billion.
I feel like...
That's the difference.
Hang on. I'm feeling it. I feel like that reflects more on us as a people.
Yeah, you'll have a tougher time trying to change people's behavior. So might as well just roll with it.
I guess. Like your Kit Harington in Pompeii.
Yeah, that was sad.
That love story fucked that right up.
Pompeii being an interesting story on its own.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. But wow. So, throughout the film, they were talking about how it was infamously coined the unsinkable ship. Which was sad, because every time someone said in the dialogue, this is unsinkable, and we're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and I think they laid it a bit too heavily on the irony in this movie, because we have a lot of them in the show where you have, like you said, God himself could not sink this ship.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious, because as a viewer, you're already aware that the Titanic sunk. You're not going into this thinking anything else. It's not a spoiler. It's just a fact. And yeah, I'm hoping that's what people went into back in the day, knowing what the Titanic actually sunk and not just some frivolous.
Well, I guess it depends. If you're not that big on history or the Titanic in general, you probably wouldn't look into it further than that.
Yeah. Well, then again, there's this education system. Well, there you go.
But again, we are a TV film podcast, so we probably shouldn't take it too much on the fact that it wasn't historical.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
I feel like we're spoiled these days, though, because in 2019, watching the film, I'm like, yeah, cinematography is good. Yeah, costumes are good. But I think we take for granted that this was made in 1997.
Yeah. Yeah, which is quite impressive for what they achieved.
Right? And the CG was actually quite good as well. Even with the budget that it had, a lot of it would have had to been manual.
Yeah.
As well.
For sure.
So, kudos to James Cameron and his crew. I'm sure they've got all the kudos and the money, so, our kudos probably don't mean much to you. But I do appreciate the film as an overall piece of work.
Yeah. And I guess one of the other themes in this is greed.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because with such tragedies comes human error and human greed. And for the things that you would think unfathomable to even consider, for a ship at that scale to only have, 40-odd life lifeboats. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, the rationale was they didn't want to clutter the deck.
Which is so fucking ridiculous.
But it's sadly understandable.
It is sadly understandable.
As well. Because as we start to realize, this was the ship to be on, right? And it really served, which in many cases, if I want to get real, it really served for the most richest and most prestigious people.
Yeah. And you know what they did say in the movie? Well, with the old Rose, in present day, they were talking about how, they were explaining how the ship sank. Even before Rose started recounting everything. And there was like, the captain's experience went against him because everything that he knew was actually wrong and it caused the accident or whatever. But to me, it goes beyond that, in that greed feeds into both the captain's need to have this sort of retirement grandeur where he has, I sailed the fastest ship to America in a day or day less. And it was far out. For someone who knows he's making enough time to get to America and to still fire up the extra engines to just go full steam ahead, despite the multiple warnings of icebergs.
And there was no reason for it.
There was no reason for it other than she agreed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Interesting fact, because I want to cut through the fat of the love story with some historical facts. The Titanic was a bit different, and in their opinion, they were innovative and in that sense, more on the cusp of cutting edge engineering. Previously, even smaller lines were fitted with 4-pronged propellers. Titanic actually only had 3.
Oh.
And considering the large scale of the Titanic can also lead to its demise as well. And, you know, let's talk about it, and we'll continue to talk about it in this episode. If we're not clouded by the love story of this, there are many elements that could contribute possibly to the sinking of the Titanic. And I just want to point that out, but let's continue. Let's keep talking about the simulation, right? With Old Rose. It's been 84 years.
You know what bothered me about Old Rose?
Everything?
The fact that the first person she tells the story to is a fucking stranger.
Right?
You've held the story of losing your loved one. Him risking it all.
Yeah.
For you being a brat through the whole fucking thing. Painting it as fucking love.
Yeah.
And then the first person you tell in bloody 84 years is a fucking stranger who's only in it to find the fucking necklace.
And you know what's really weird, because, you know, I'm not sure where you guys work, and hello, if you're listening to us while you're working, but both you and I work office jobs, right? And man, do you come across some boring people? Some boring ass people with some boring ass stories. Rose had a substantial story linked to a historical event, and she didn't tell anybody.
Not her husband, not her children.
I understand why
not
she
her
wouldn't tell the husband.
grandchildren.
I understand why she wouldn't tell the husband, but yes.
But to a bloody stranger who she calls when they show a picture of her naked on the TV news.
Actually, yeah, when you lay it out like that, it seems like a Black Mirror.
Come on now.
Get it together, guys.
The first time I watched this, I didn't get that. I was like, oh,
because
well.
you wouldn't.
Second time, I'm far out, mate.
You were waiting for your Titanic to rise.
Oh, yeah. Well, then again, I didn't remember anything rising or even the nude scenes, so it was all lost on me, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. She had an actual story to tell. And she didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Weird.
So let me put it to you this way.
Okay.
In another scenario where she doesn't watch that news, does she take this story to a grave?
I guess. Or she'll bequeath the necklace, and that's when she'll tell the story.
She won't bequeath anything to anyone because she throws the necklace away anyway.
Well, I hope she's not queefing. I'm talking about bequeathing.
Well, I'm happy with both, so...
Grandma queefs?
They're still queefs. They're valid. Don't be an ageist queefer. I don't know how I would put that.
For $1 on our Patreon, you can contribute to the grandma queefs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What do you mean, ew? You're the one. Wow.
No, you just have to make everything weird. It wasn't weird until you started digging into it. Don't poke holes. Don't try and dig deeper into it. It is what it is.
Whoever's been listening and myself know that that's not true. You brought the weird into here. But yes, the weirdest thing is Rose is recounting this story. And as far as this film goes, no one is disputing her. Why is she telling all the shitty things about herself? Wouldn't she make herself seem less bratty and less privileged?
Because I think she feels like...
My life is hard.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like she's fighting the system. She's fighting the man.
Talking about the system, let's talk about the social classes before we run out of time. There is quite a hard line drawn between the first class, the second class, and the third class, right? The most opulent of society was living it up in first class. Hey, Theo, how you doing? He was shaking. He was having a little shake, in case you could hear that. Because you see the disparity, for lack of a better word, of the different classes. I don't think second class really got much of a mention in this film. It was more about the first class and the third class. And wow. Just wow. It was leaps and bounds different in every single way in regards to how they were treated.
Yeah, it really was.
And let's get to the final scenes of the film, right? Once there is some sort of semblance that we are in some trouble, first class was like, here's a life jacket. If you want to evacuate, it's fine, right? And then once I got to the third class, they were throwing one life jacket to a room of 4, being like, fend for yourselves and, you know, running off and, you know, trying to tend to everyone else. And something that I really had a problem with was, yes, we've talked about the lack of lifeboats, right? Even in that sense, you know, the first class passengers were really blasé about it. Some weren't even wearing their life jackets. Some weren't really, they're like, can I go back to my cabin now?
Yeah.
Can I go back to my cabin now? Why are you bothering me?
True.
Sort of thing.
And I guess it's really annoying, and it's just painting quite a vivid picture of how society is, right?
Yeah.
Because you had that stat, like 60% of the first class people made it. That's just a stark number compared to all the people that died.
It's very harrowing.
Majority of them being trapped below deck with no way up, no life jacket.
Well, according to the film, of the lifeboats that were there, only one of them came back for...
Even that. And most of them were plenty empty, mate.
Yes, there were only about 20 people in a capacity of 65.
I rage. You know...
Oh, speaking of rage, you know how the musicians were playing up until the final moments of the Titanic? Fun fact, Edith, who's a survivor, she was actually in the first class at the Titanic, and she was 15 years old. So she was quite young. So that's how she was still alive to be in existing interviews in 1957 or also in the 1990s as well. She mentioned that, yes, there were some musicians that were playing up until the final moments, but they didn't play Nearer My God to Thee.
What did they play?
No one can really remember. From a lot of the accounts, no one can really remember what exactly was being played.
Yeah.
However, it was something that was upbeat. It was something that was quite happy. And Edith, who I'm talking about in particular, said that Nearer My God to Thee definitely wasn't playing because that would have been a lie. and a mockery.
So it's just more for dramatic effect for this.
Right?
Yeah.
And we had grown up with the notion that it was so sweet that God is going to come and save me, which we're not going to get into today. But, to have that hymn, nearer my God to thee. Apparently, factual, according to Ruth, that didn't even happen. And on other accounts, not just Ruth.
Yeah, they're probably playing, it's getting hot in here. Take off all your clothes. Probably the worst advice they could probably give. But there you go.
You know what? I was going to throw a boy out and save you, but you saved yourself. So congratulations. You didn't need my door.
I'm a self-correcting OT, mate.
Right? Next season on Black Mirror.
But yeah, I think they showed great valor in just accepting the situation for what it was, embracing it, and doing their best to calm whoever was on the boat that wasn't making it to the lifeboat.
Yeah. It's hard, right? Because you really wonder in those moments, if you were there, would you have been helpful or would you have been trying to fend for yourself?
Yeah.
It became, because we're older now, we're not kids just looking for boners. You, your own, and mine, other people's. But you really start to reflect on shit. If, I've got a whole life now, would I actually sacrifice my life for others? Right? But the first class really wasn't that. It was just a matter of comfort.
Yeah. Just goes to show you, get your money now, Just get it.
Yeah, but people still die, dude.
Well, you die, but at least some efforts will be put into trying to save your life.
You know what? That is true and very sad.
Yeah.
It was really just a matter of comfort. It wasn't really a matter of safety. And with Ruth's account, she was talking about at 15 years old, she was saying how there was ice on the deck. And they were talking to the staff saying, is this anything to worry about? And they said no. So naturally, she and her family just went to bed.
Yeah. I guess what other thing would they say to... You wouldn't really want to raise anxiety levels or panic at the boat or the ship. You'd just say, no, that's not a problem and try and figure out how we save the ship, even if there's none.
I guess so. I guess so. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
Because we weren't there.
There's so many mistakes that led to this.
Totally.
It's just a really, really bad or good example of human negligence.
And I really wouldn't blame it on the captain. I feel like there are many contributing factors as to why.
Tapui, I blame him. I blame him a whole lot more than I would blame anyone else.
Tapui?
Yeah, you like it?
If you're nasty.
But I feel like he just did not command his ship as best as he could.
Yeah,
he let other people influence him.
I know, but for many decades, he has been the scapegoat for the sinking of the Titanic. And I feel like it was more complex than that. Right? But I do want to give a shout out to our friend, Victor Garber, who plays Thomas Andrews. Because he has a maniacal face, right? He was essentially a good guy in this film, but I kept looking at him and not trusting anything he said.
Yeah.
He's our guy from Scandal.
Oh, I think most of our listeners would know him from Alias.
Okay.
Just saying.
Because Jennifer Garner is a great gal.
She's a great gal.
But wow, I don't know. Talking about classes, it really gets to you, especially in that sort of society. You could argue that it definitely was more of a rule back then.
Yeah.
Than it is now.
Yeah, but I will not let him off the hook so easily. At the end of the day, the buck stops with him.
Really? You're still gunning for him?
I'm just saying, mistakes were made that were quite preventable at his level, regardless of how many idiots told him otherwise. Because you know the dangers of the open waters. So whatever you put in the ether, mate, you get it back in tenfolds. And he chose to put negligence and greed above everything else.
I do want to disagree with you, but apparently it took at least 47 minutes for them to call it in.
Because they thought they were cool, mate.
Well, they were assessing the damage.
Oh, and the sad thing is, when they sent out the SOS, there was a ship actually which was quite close, but the guy who was reading those went to bed early.
Yes.
And only saw it the next day. How frightening. And by the time they got there, everyone had died.
Yeah,
that is nerve-wracking. That guy would... Oh, I feel so sorry for him. I think that would live with me forever. I would get haunted by that.
Totally.
Me choosing to go to bed pretty much, that's harsh. That's really
because
harsh.
You want to know. You're just like, it's just any other night. Let me just go to bed
pretty
now.
much, yeah.
There aren't any signals. It's fine.
It is. It really, really is. Then again, you have the 40-odd lifeboats that went out and never came back to try and rescue anyone.
True.
People are the worst. Fucking hell, are you even living in this bloody world? Fuck's sakes.
Rose is the worst.
No, she's not.
Rose is the actual worst.
Tell us your qualms with Rose.
My qualms. Jack Dawson put his tryst in her. You're welcome. There's a soundbite. No, but it's like she was selfish up until the very end.
How so?
So I think it was in the Mythbusters episode. They were talking about it only had to take 15 minutes in the water before you would die from hypothermia, right? Irregardless of that, right?
Well, some people 15, but other people are different and it would take 2 minutes or so.
Semantics, right? In any case, I would rather live in a world where we both don't have legs than to be without you, sir. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like I get that. And they did prove that they could have probably survived if they used some ingenuity.
Yes.
But only if you use that ingenuity, which in that situation, without the added benefits of time and relaxation and not having your life on the bloody line, you can actually think something out. But at the time, I don't think I blame her at all for that. I really don't. Because I think if it was me, I would probably do the same thing. I'll just plump you on the boat, on the door, and I'd drift away. I won't even stay next to you so that you don't come find me. I'll be like, see ya. Gonna die now. Bye.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. What do we even say after that? What do you want? What are you seeking for, sir? One of the accounts that I was listening to in the History Unplugged podcast, they're quite big, so they probably don't know about us, but I'll put them in our show notes because I was listening to a few of the podcasts that they had in the series of the Titanic. They were talking about how there was a survivor, or at least one of the accounts. He was actually throwing the pool chairs off the Titanic because he knew that the ship was going to sink. So at least if he had some pool chairs there, he would be able to grab one of them. Yeah. How sad is that?
Yeah. Oh, and there's also another story of someone who survived and they were in the water. I think they swam they were staying afloat the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was merely because he was drunk as fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm not advocating for people to get drunk and warming your blood. just interesting to know that.
Yeah, but let's round off. You know what? We didn't really cover a lot in regards to, other episodes where we cover as many characters as possible. But really, it kind of only focuses on these two.
Yeah, well, we did get to see a little bit of Carl, and he's just a hateable guy through and through. He even has a hateable face. Him and his right-hand man, Loveless. Is it Loveless? I feel like it's a Will Smith Wild Wild West reference.
Really?
Yeah. His name is, not Loveless, Lovejoy. Oh, I kind of feel disappointed with that now. I really wanted it to be Loveless. Well, it's Lovejoy.
Well, it's Loveless in this household.
But yeah, they're them two, tied to the hip, both ridiculous men. I don't even think he survived getting off the boat. So, one other thing. Rose didn't even notice Jack had died. She fell asleep on the fucking door.
Yes, queen. Yes, queen.
Mate, if I've given my life for you...
He gave this full-ass speech
bloody
as well.
Stay awake.
He gave a speech as well.
Bloody stay awake to see me go.
I told you, she's a selfish bitch.
I'd even forgotten about that. See me off before you get to rest on your laurels.
Shout outs to the soundtrack, because we do stand a strong Celine Dion in this household.
Yeah, we sure do.
King of the world, right? I felt scared for old Rose when she was trying to do that.
Yeah, I really hope there's some harnesses trying to, hold
or maybe
just
Chad Stahelski before he did The Matrix was helping. He was like the stunt guy for Rose. Listen to our John Wick episode, guys. Oh, but all in all, it's a film that exists, and we've watched it twice.
Yeah, man, I think that's it for me at least.
I think that's it. And you know what? No one asked for this episode, but you're welcome. We try to give it a break because we've done a lot of TV shows. We've also recently done Naruto. Arigato. Listen to our episode if you haven't. But we wanted to kind of break it up to what is a big blockbuster that almost everyone has seen. Because we love you guys. We love our listeners. Sometimes you guys listen to episodes that you haven't even watched. And even though I'm the king, I don't really want to deflower you in spoilers. So hopefully this is an episode that you guys could enjoy and
sink your teeth into.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
If you're interested in this sort of content, let us know. If there's anything you want us to cover, let us know. But let's get into For Your Reference. This is a first. We've talked about love and romance. Let me go first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to fight?
No, not today.
This is a weird feeling. Okay, let's get into it. I love a good documentary, especially about history.
Yeah, it probably won't gross $2 billion, but there you go.
But my integrity is full. There are quite a whole slew of documentaries that you can go through in regards to the Titanic. One that I specifically focused on when I was in high school was Titanic Secrets Revealed. The good thing about that is it also focuses on contributing factors, not just the captain. So that's mine for today.
Yeah, my reference for today would be Pearl Harbor. It's just a different movie with the same theme where you get a really tragic event that happened. And in this case, it's the bombing of Pearl Harbor and a love story plastered on top of it. So,
is there a love story in it?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. In fact, it's like a love triangle. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, so go get on your hats and watch Pearl Harbor. I think there's a newer version coming out soon. There's that. So yeah, I think this is a format that will live on for a few more years or for a few more decades.
So that's us, guys. That was the Titanic, or the sinking of our For Your Reference ship, if you will. I think we've jumped the iceberg talking about a love story. If you like this, if you like the softer, more sumptuous sides of us, let us know. Otherwise, we'll probably just keep to our regular sort of formats. Whatever we like to cover, we will cover. On Twitter and Instagram, we are For Your Ref Pod. OT, guess what?
Wow.
We have hit 1,000 followers on Twitter.
Woo-hoo.
What?
Thank you, guys. That's
Thank you so much. If you want to fight with me in the Twitter mentions, because it's established that OT isn't allowed on Twitter.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, because I'll be too awesome.
Listen to our Deadwood episode. Yes, and we also have an email and a website, so.
Oh, yeah, you can get us at hello@fyropodcast.com, and yeah, we'd love reading what you write, so continue sending those through, and we'll respond when you do get some few minutes.
And speaking of, thanks to everyone that has left us ratings and reviews on Apple and everyone that has subscribed across all platforms for us. We really appreciate it, and it does hopefully help us reach out to more people.
Yep.
So in the meantime, we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Hang on to your doors.